More pipes to connect. There, all done.
What's up?
I found Lori safe and sound in the caboose, so I guess those vibes you got about her being in serious trouble were wrong.
Strange. My vibes are never wrong. What's even stranger is I'm still getting them. So maybe they're not about Lori. Maybe they're about you.
Me? I'm not in any trouble.
Trust me. Either you or Lori is, or soon will be, in big trouble.
Could you be more specific?
Unfortunately, no.
Well, I'll catch you later.
Goodbye.
What is that?
Yes?
I found Lori. She's in the caboose. You were right. She disappeared because she wanted to see which of us would find her first.
And you won. Congratulations.
The others on the train, John Gray and that police detective, do you know them very well?
I don't know them at all. Needless to say, I don't watch television, so I've never even seen Mr. Gray before. Although I do know that his profession, if you can call it that, is rife with crackpots. As for Mr. Balducci, from what I've read, his success in solving those robberies was less a matter of talent and more a matter of being in the right place at precisely the right time.
In other words, you don't think he deserves all the attention he's getting?
No. You and those two Boy Scouts you're with would make better detectives. Is that all, dear?
Did you know that Lori wants to be a romance novelist?
Doesn't everyone?
Have you discussed any of her ideas with her?
No. Could we please talk about something a little more pleasant?
I'll touch bases with you later.
All right, then.
Nancy, what's with the Cheshire Cat grin?
You found Lori.
Yep, she's holed up in the caboose, and as a reward for finding her, she let me have this. It's a letter from Jake to his niece in which he leaves clues telling her how to find his mine. Only the clues are extremely obtuse.
You found Lori, you got the letter with all the clues. Guess you don't need us anymore.
Oh, Joe, quit pouting. Want any help?
Are you kidding? You bet I do.
Now you're talking.
Balducci wants me to share everything I find out about Jake Hurley with him.
I'll bet he does.
He just doesn't want you to show him up again.
Yeah, he wants you to do all the legwork so at the last minute, bam, he can swoop in and grab all the credit.
I wouldn't tell him a thing, Nance.
Unless it's to get lost.
It stands to reason that the only person other than Jake who had to have known the location of Jake's mine was the engineer on Jake's train.
Very true.
Not necessarily. Jake might not have told him the exact location. Maybe he just had him drop him off somewhere nearby.
Well, still, we'd be way ahead of the game if we knew where that drop-off point was.
It would be nice to know his name.
The guy died more than 100 years ago. How are we supposed to find out his name?
Maybe Charlena What's-Her-Face could tell us how to go about it.
Good idea, Frank. I'll ask her. I found a diagram for some kind of contraption that Jake designed, but to operate it, you need his pickaxe and some kind of lamp or lantern, which it looks like he gave to somebody named Buell.
Buell? Joe, show her.
Show her what?
That old picture we found.
Okay.
We found this on the bookshelf. See? Buell's Supplies and Pawn Shop. That's gotta be the same Buell Jake gave his axe and lantern to.
Yeah, 100 years ago. And the guy was a pawnbroker, Frank. The stuff's probably long gone.
Or maybe it's still somewhere in Copper Gorge.
Well, that's where we're headed, so let's just hope for the best.
Right.
See you later.
You know where to find us.
So, Lori pushed that button, slid the shelves open further, squeezed through, and disappeared. Very clever.
More questions?
How would I go about finding out the name of Jake's train engineer?
If you're smart, you'd ask me. And because my work is going surprisingly well, during my next break, I'll log on to my archives at home and see what I can turn up.
That'd be great, thank you.
Whoever invented the cellular modem, that's whom you should thank, dear.
I'll let you get back to your writing.
All right, then.
Whoa! Somebody must have thrown the emergency brake.
The question is, did somebody throw the brake? Or something?
Oh, Joe, now you sound like Lori.
Hey, I was the first one on the scene, and I saw no one.
Who was the next person on the scene?
John Gray. Then Balducci came bursting through one door while Frank and the engineer came through the other. Boy, was that guy ticked. He said the train could have derailed. He reset the brake, muttered a few choice words, then headed back to the engine just as you and Lori showed up.
Everybody was there except Charlena. I don't think she left her laptop the whole time.
Do you think she could have thrown the brake and snuck back to her laptop without your seeing her?
Not likely, but possible, I guess.
The question is, why? What did she or anybody else stand to gain by stopping the train?
Answer? Nothing. Which is why I think we should at least consider the possibility that something less human in nature may be at work here.
Ah, Joe.
I'm going to see if Balducci's done dusting for fingerprints. Catch you later. Looks like Tino's through dusting for fingerprints.
Glad you dropped in. Lori told me she'd given you a letter from Jake Hurley that says how to find his mine.
That's right. You can read it if you want.
Lori should have given that to me. I mean, I'm the trained professional around here. Let me take a look. I've seen enough. 2 words. Useless. Those are just the rantings of a guy who spent way too much of his life swirling mud around in pans under the hot sun. 5-star nut job.
Lori says she found this letter in a wastebasket.
Exactly where it belongs.
Did you find any fingerprints on the emergency brake handle?
None that ready help, thanks to Casey Jones up there. I told the old geezer not to touch anything, but he went and got his big, fat, oily paw prints all over the place. If we didn't need him to drive the train, I'd charge him with obstruction of justice.
Did you do anything else besides look for fingerprints?
Of course. As a matter of fact, I found this. Probably fell out of the perp's pocket while he was yanking on the handle.
Looks like some kind of thermometer.
Yeah, like the kind a certain ghost hunter uses on that bogus show of his.
You think John Gray threw the break? But why would he do that?
Because they're thinking about axing his show, that's why. I checked with this buddy of mine in L.A. Gray's got to come up with something real big real soon, or he's toast. And you can't get much bigger than a train with a spooky past that's prone to strange accidents, now can you?
Have you confronted John with your suspicions?
All in due time. I always like to get my ducks in a row before I make an arrest.
You're going to arrest him?
Hey, the train could have derailed. We're talking reckless endangerment, attempted assault, maybe even attempted murder. John Gray wanted publicity. That's exactly what I'm gonna give him.
Hope I didn't take up too much of your time.
Don't mention it.
What's up?
Are you by any chance missing a small digital thermometer?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. When I went through the box I'd packed them in, that one over there, I came up one short. I was hoping to set up at least 6 in here so I could check for cold spots. How did you know I was missing one?
Because Tino Balducci found it by the emergency brake handle when he was dusting it for fingerprints, and now he thinks you're the one who pulled it.
That's ridiculous. I didn't have any reason to pull the emergency brake.
Is it true that your show is in danger of being canceled?
Newsflash, my show was canceled. Happened last night. But what nobody knows yet is that it's been picked up by a major TV network. Not only am I still on the air, but I'm sitting prettier than ever. Any other questions?
Were you in this room the whole time prior to that emergency brake thing?
Of course not. I made a couple of trips to my compartment in the sleeping car to get more equipment. But did I get an overpowering urge to pull the emergency brake while I was there? No.
I saw a bunch of weird glowing lights outside the window of the sleeping car.
Really? Actually, I'm not surprised.
You're not?
They're probably some form of piezoelectricity. See, my guess is quartz crystals in the ground are being compressed as the train passes over them, and the resulting voltage, called piezoelectricity, is manifesting itself as glowing lights, probably because of some quirk in the train's shape or in the composition of the metals used in its construction. It was custom built, remember?
Whatever it's called, it was unnerving to say the least.
Take it from me, old Mother Nature is capable of some pretty scary stuff.
So are you making any progress in here?
Oh yeah, not only am I getting some real unusual EMRs, that's electromagnetic readings, but take a look at this.
You've got something?
I set up a camera and took some time-lapse photos. Sometimes I was in the room, sometimes I wasn't, but somewhere along the line, I managed to get a shot of Camille.
Where? You don't mean that little blob, do you?
Yep, that's Camille.
Okay.
You're skeptical. That's cool. Just remember, the key word when it comes to ghostly phenomena is energy. That blob is the result of Camille's residual life force, spirit if you will, reacting with the chemicals in the photographic paper.
Couldn't it just be a flaw in the photographic paper?
Okay, it could be that too, but it's not. Trust me.
Well, I'll catch you later.
Goodbye.
Hello?
Me again. Just checking to see whether you were able to find out the name of those dancing shoes yet.
Your wish is our command, but hang on to your hat. The name is a real mouthful. The shoes were made by Chaussette Chateauyantes, Chaussatetoyantes. That's French for shimmering socks. Apparently, if you were into dancing in the 1870s, that was the company to get your shoes from.
Chaussette Chateauyantes. Got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for letting us help.
I better go.
We'll be right here.
Yes? Do you have any idea who threw the emergency brake?
I know exactly who did it.
You do?
Well, who else could it be? Camille. None of us has any reason to stop the train but Camille. She doesn't want us to find Jake's mine, so she's going to do whatever she can to keep its location a secret.
Did you see something?
Well, no. But I'll tell you what. Your friend, that Jim Harley guy?
Not Jim, Joe Hardy.
Yeah, well, he thinks it's Camille, too. He just doesn't have the guts to say so.
I hear that Tino and you used to be an item.
How did you know that?
So it's true?
We went out a couple of times, yeah. As for why we stopped going out, you'd have to ask him.
I'll come back later.
I'll be waiting.
Guess Camille liked to collect dolls. Looks just like the stuff John Gray has his thermometers packed in.
What's going on?
How come you told me you and Lori never went out, and she told me you did?
Don't you ever stop asking questions?
When people start answering them honestly, I do.
I dumped her, okay? I'm not proud of what I did. I'm not happy about what I did, but it's done. It's over. Now let's drop it.
Guess I'll just have to go talk to Lori again.
You are incredibly irritating, you know that? I dumped her because people said going out with her would make me look bad. Said she was a joke, that no one took her seriously. Said if I started hanging with her, no one would take me seriously. So I stopped calling.
Did you ever tell Lori any of this?
No. Now take a powder. I don't feel like talking anymore. Still don't feel like talking.
More questions?
Would you like to see the letter that Lori gave me as a reward for finding her?
The one in which Jake Hurley supposedly tells his niece how to find his lost mine? No, thank you. I happily leave it to you to try to solve the mystery of his disappearance. You can afford to look foolish, dear. I can't.
Do you have a theory as to who pulled the emergency brake?
Well, I know it wasn't me. I assume it wasn't you, and I highly doubt it was Lori. So that leaves those two friends of yours, Mr. Gray and Mr. Balducci.
Have you run across many haunted train stories in the course of your research?
A few, but most train-bound ghosts that I've come across seem to have better things to do than sit around pulling emergency brakes.
Were you able to find the name of Jake's train engineer?
I came across 3 references to the fact that Jake had an engineer, but I'm afraid none of them included his name. I failed. Sorry.
Aren't you even going to try finding out what happened to Jake Hurley?
No time. The only reason I haven't insisted that Lori release me from all this silliness is there's always the possibility that what happened to him has the makings of a bestseller, although I highly doubt it.
Why are you so sure that Jake's story wouldn't make a bestseller?
His story is an all too common one. A man wanders off into the desert in search of gold and never returns. Why? He either doesn't have enough food or water, or he encounters hostile natives.
But why was his train found out in the middle of nowhere with just the dead engineer on board?
That does make the story a little more interesting. My guess is the engineer got tired of waiting for Jake to return, took off in the train to get help, and died of a heart attack along the way, after which the train rolled to a stop in Blue Moon Canyon. Anyone experienced enough to single-handedly run a steam engine would have been quite a bit older than Jake.
What do you think happened to Camille?
She probably died of something mundane like pneumonia or even measles. Now, if it was wintertime when she died, and they were in the mountains, Jake no doubt kept her body on the train for months before he buried her, which is rather delicious in a morbid sort of way.
I'll touch bases with you later.
Let me know if you run across anything juicy.
I can't stay mad at a fellow detective. What do you need?
You're the one who pulled that emergency brake, aren't you?
Me? What, are you joking?
Care to explain how packing material from the box those thermometers were in wound up on the floor over there?
You're just some teenage nobody. I don't have to listen to this.
You're right, you don't. Neither do the other passengers. But unless you give me a good reason not to, I think I'll tell them anyway.
Look, maybe I was a little hasty, pointing a finger at the ghost guy like that. Maybe all those lies people have been spreading are starting to get to me. Maybe I thought it would help if I got a little positive press by solving a crime aboard a haunted train. Maybe I apologize. And, maybe you can see fit not to let any of this go beyond this room?
Well, no harm done, I guess.
Great. Well, what else can I do for you?
Thanks for your help.
Helping people is what I'm all about.